Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to go over the selection vocabulary pictures for first grade journeys, lesson 2, and the story, The Storm. But before we get started, we're going to review our turn and talk routine. So turn and talk means I'm going to ask you a question or questions, and you're going to think about your answer. And then if you have a partner at home, you can pair up with your partner. Or if you don't have a partner at home, you can be my virtual partner. And then you're going to share your answer out loud in a complete sentence. I may not be able to hear you, but I want you to try your best to answer the questions I ask in a complete sentence. So for this lesson, you will also need a pencil and a piece of paper. And you're going to write your numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to write numbers 1 to 8 on your piece of paper. So if you need to, push pause, get a pencil and a piece of paper, and write numbers 1 through 8. And then at the end of this lesson, my challenge to you will be to get either crayons or use the same pencil you have and rainbow write your vocabulary words 1, 2, 3 times each. So that's the challenge at the end of the lesson. So for each vocabulary word, at the end of the lesson, you're going to write each of them 3 more times. So here's our learning target. Repeat after me. I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from the story, The Storm. Our other learning target is I can have a conversation with a partner about the vocabulary words and pictures. So, success criteria, that means how will you know you're successful at using pictures and context clues to help you understand important words from the story, The Storm? Well, here's our roadmap to success. So this lesson is like climbing a learning mountain, and here's the steps we're going to use to get to the top of the mountain. So with my partner or just by yourself, I will look closely at each pair of pictures. Number 2, I will say what I notice or see. How are the pictures the same or similar? And that's when you turn and talk with your partner, or you will be my partner. And then I will, number 3, read each word and its definition. So let's go over our turn and talk rules. If you have a partner at home, you are eye to eye and knee to knee. And number 2, first one person talks and the other person listens. 3, then the next person talks and the other person listens. But don't talk too long on your turn or your partner will not have time to have a turn. Now, if you're my partner, just make sure you try your best to answer the questions I ask you. So listen to the questions I've asked you and answer them the best you can in a complete sentence. So I'm going to ask 2 questions for every group of pictures. The first one is, what do you notice or see? And you're going to say, I notice or I see, and tell me what you notice or see about the pictures. And then I'm going to ask, how are they all the same or similar? So if you notice this man and his dog look similar, they both have little beady white eyes and gray hair, and they're wearing the same color, and they have long jowls. So they look similar. So when I say, how are the pictures the same or similar, you'll say, they all have maroon, or they all have gray hair, or something like that. Also, some added things you can say is you can say, I agree with you, Mrs. Pearson, because, and tell why, because I'm going to share my answers. Or you can say, I disagree with you, and tell me why. So here's our first two pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice. So answer that question, I notice, and say it out loud in a complete sentence. Well, I notice a dog sleeping in a bed and I notice some bunk beds. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They all, so say that, they all, and finish the thought. They all, well, you're right. They are all beds. So, the word is bed, B-E-D, bed. So, write that word down for number one on your piece of paper, bed. A bed is a piece of furniture for sleeping. Bed. Tim was cozily tucked in bed and already asleep. Tim is in the bed, right? So make sure you write bed. If you need to push pause to finish writing it, go right ahead and then push play when you're ready. Next pair of pictures, what do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, I noticed that these two children look like they're going to their mom and their mom's waving. I noticed that this person is coming or walking toward me. So, how are these two pictures the same or similar? They all, so say that out loud. They all, well, I think they all show walking or coming. So the word is come, C-O-M-E. Write that up for number two. Come. Come, C-O-M-E, come. Come means to move to a person or a place. Come. Will you come to my house? I would love to see you. Come, C-O-M-E. Next pair of pictures, and remember, if I'm going too fast, you can push pause and write the word. What do you notice or see in these two pictures? I notice or I see. Well, I notice a grandfather here, and this looks like Papa Smurf over here. So, how are these two pictures the same or similar? They both, well, I would say they both show a grandpa or a grandfather or a papa. So, the word is pop. That's short for papa. Pop. So, write number three, pop, P-O-P, pop. Pop is a name of a grandfather or older male family member. Pop. I love to spend time with my pop or grandpa. All right, number four, look at the two pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, here I notice a storm cloud and here I notice a winter storm. So, how are these two pictures the same? They both, well, I would say they both show a storm or weather. So, number four is storm, S-T-O-R-M. Write that down, storm. A storm is a strong wind with rain, sleet, or snow. See, there's rain, sleet, or snow in one or both of the pictures. Storm. The storm was raging outside with lightning and thunder. Storm. What do you notice or see in these two pictures? I notice or I see. Well, I noticed that this boy looks wet and this dog looks wet. So how are these pictures the same or similar? They both show wet or drenched. So number 5 is wet. W-E-T, wet. What is wet? Being covered with water. She got wet from being outside in the rain. Wet. Next one, what do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, I notice rain and a puddle, and I notice rain here. So how are these two pictures the same or similar? I would say they both show rain or puddles. So what's the word? Oh, downpour. That's a compound word, downpour. What is a downpour? It's a large amount of rain that falls all at once. Downpour. It falls all at once. After I saw the dark rain clouds, there was a big downpour. That's a big word, so make sure you spell it for number 6. The first word is down and then pour. Like you would pour a glass of water. Well, the water is coming down in a downpour. D-O-W-N-P-O-U-R, downpour. Now, if you need more time, push pause. The next one, what do you notice or see? I notice or I see. I notice a twister or a huge storm and another huge storm. So, how are these two pictures the same? Oh, and he looks angry. How are these two pictures the same or similar? They both show big storms, and the word is raging. If you're full of rage, that means you're very angry. So these are angry, raging storms. Raging, it is happening in a strong or out of control way. So these are raging pictures of raging storms. So if you're raging angry, then you're out of control and you have very strong emotions. Raging comes from the word rage. The raging storm outside sounded very loud and angry because of the strong wind, rain, and thunder. So write that for number 7. Raging comes from the word to rage, means you're very angry or strong and out of control. The raging storm outside sounded very loud and angry because of the strong wind, rain, and thunder. So, number 8 is our last vocabulary word. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, I noticed that this boy's comfy in his blanket, and I noticed that Linus from Snoopy is very comfortable reading a book. So, how are these two pictures the same or similar? They both, well, I would say they both look comfy or cozy or comfortable. So, the word is cozily. It comes from the word cozy. It describes something, how you feel cozily. Warm, comfortable, and relaxed, cozily. Again, it comes from the word cozy. If you're feeling cozy, you are feeling warm, comfortable, and relaxed. And cozily describes how you're feeling. Tim was cozily tucked in bed. He felt safe and warm, cozily. C-O-Z-I-L-Y. Write that in on your paper, cozily. And let's check our work. Number 1, what was number 1? Bed. What is a bed? A bed is a piece of furniture for sleeping. Bed. Number 2, do you remember this word? Come. To move to a person or a place. Come. Number 3, pop. The name of a grandfather or older male family member. Pop. Number 4, storm. A strong wind with rain, sleet, or snow. Storm. So make sure you have these words: bed, come, pop, and storm. If you need to, push pause. Number 5, wet, W-E-T. What is wet? Being covered with water. Number 6, downpour. That's a compound word. The word down and pour. That means a large amount of rain that falls all at once. Downpour. Number 7, raging. It comes from the root word rage. It is happening in a strong or out of control way. Raging. And number 8, cozily. Warm, comfortable, and relaxed. Cozily. If you need to, push pause and check your work. And let's review on the top of our paper. It's time to reflect, just like Winnie the Pooh and Tigger are looking at their reflection in the water. They're thinking about their learning. What was our learning target? Our learning target: I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from the story, The Storm. So would you give yourself a 4? You could write 4 on the top of your paper. I could teach this lesson. I easily said how each pair of pictures was the same. Or 3, I was able to say how most of the picture pairs were the same. Or 2, I was able to say how some of the picture pairs were the same. Or 1, I was not able to say how any of the picture pairs were the same. Now next, I want you to reflect on how well did you hit the target by following class expectations, meaning how did you participate? Were you on task? Were you doing your work? So you can give yourself another grade for your participation. Would you give yourself a 4? A 4 would mean I'm an expert. Oops. I was fully engaged and trying. Did you try your best? Or would you give yourself a 3? I'm a master. I was mostly engaged and trying. Or 2, I'm an apprentice. I sometimes tried. Or 1, I'm a novice. I had a hard time participating today. How did you participate in the lesson? So here is your challenge. Now we're at the end of the lesson. Now it's time to challenge yourself and work those brain muscles. So get out your crayons or your pencil, and you've already written your words 1 through 8. And now it's time to rainbow write those vocabulary words once, twice, 3 times. All right, boys and girls, thank you for doing the vocabulary with me. Have a great day.